Come with me to uncover the most incredible situations that arise in the world, in space, or in other dimensions. You are on Awake. Siberia. A vast and desolate land, where glaciers reign supreme and cutting winds sweep the arid landscape. Many are unaware of the grandeur of this region, which extends majestically across almost all of Russia, like a sleeping giant. It's difficult to describe the immense size of this landmass, which covers almost 77% of the vast Russian territory. With an area of more than 13 million square kilometers, Siberia is 20 times larger than France and 50 times larger than the United Kingdom. There is no country in the world that can match its greatness, as it covers almost 10% of the planet's land area. However, it is not just the colossal size of Siberia that makes it impressive. The severe and extremely cold climate is one of its main characteristics, which makes many consider it a desolate and inhospitable place. In fact, in the past, Siberia was used as a place of punishment in Russia, and even today, few people would choose to live there voluntarily. Subscribe to the channel, like and share the video on your social networks. This is the most sincere and free way to value my hours of research and production. But Siberia holds even more frightening secrets within itself. Recent discoveries made by scientists who ventured through its frozen lands have revealed a dark and unsettling reality. It is difficult not to feel fear when thinking about what may be hidden in the bowels of this cold and vast place. However, despite the astonishing size of Siberia, its population is relatively small. Only 27% of Russia's inhabitants live in this region, which corresponds to just under 40 million people. And although many are unaware of its grandeur and beauty, Siberia is undoubtedly a fascinating and mysterious place that inspires both fear and curiosity. Siberia, an enigmatic and challenging place, dazzles us with the grandeur of its dimensions and the rigor of its climate. It is a place that inspires both admiration and fear. It is difficult for people to comprehend the magnitude of Siberia, a place that is so vast that it occupies over 3/4 of Russia and, at 13 million square kilometers, is larger than any other country on the planet. Many young people leave Siberia in search of better living conditions, leading to a gradual decrease in population. It's no surprise that many associate the name Siberia with a sleeping land, wilderness, or north, as these words accurately describe the cold and inhospitable region. The Russians conquered this vast area, which spans from the Ural Mountains in the west to the Pacific Ocean in the east and the Arctic in the south, making it a region known as Siberia. In the 16th and 17th centuries, the region was the target of conquests, and many people were exiled to Siberia as punishment by the government. Winter in Siberia is undoubtedly a challenge, with temperatures that can reach as low as -40 degrees Celsius in some places, and in others, even more extreme temperatures of -60 degrees Celsius. For several months, brutal snow covers the entire region, reaching depths of up to 80 centimeters. It is during this period that Lake Baikal, one of the deepest lakes in the world, freezes completely, allowing people to walk on its surface. However, during the summer, which only lasts 3 months, temperatures can reach 40 degrees Celsius, giving the region one of the most extreme temperature fluctuations in the world. No one appreciates summer more than the people of Siberia, who struggle with intense cold for most of the year. Siberia is mainly inhabited by Russians and Russianized Ukrainians, and life in this region is a true test of physical and psychological resilience. It is a place that inspires both respect and fear, and the people who live there face extreme challenges every day. Siberia is a place that reminds us how small we are in the face of nature and that it takes courage and determination to survive in such a hostile environment. Siberia, an enigmatic and challenging place, dazzles us with the grandeur of its dimensions and the rigor of its climate. It is a place that inspires both admiration and fear. It is difficult for people to comprehend the magnitude of Siberia, a place so vast that it occupies more than 3/4 of Russia and, at 13 million square kilometers, is larger than any other country on the planet. Many young people leave Siberia in search of better living conditions, which leads to a gradual decline in population. It is not surprising that many associate the name Siberia with a sleeping land, wild land or north, as these words aptly describe the cold and inhospitable region. The Russians conquered this vast area, which spans from the Ural Mountains in the west to the Pacific Ocean in the east and the Arctic in the south, becoming a region known as Siberia. In the 16th and 17th centuries, the region was a target of conquests, and many people were exiled to Siberia as punishment by the government. Winter in Siberia is undoubtedly a challenge, with temperatures that can reach -40 degrees Celsius in some places, and in others, an even more extreme temperature of -60 degrees Celsius. For several months, brutal snow covers the entire region, reaching a depth of up to 80 centimeters. It is during this period that Lake Baikal, one of the deepest in the world, becomes completely frozen, allowing for walking on its surface. However, during the summer, which lasts only 3 months, temperatures can reach 40 degrees Celsius, giving the region one of the most extreme temperature fluctuations in the world. No one appreciates summer as much as the people of Siberia, who struggle against intense cold for most of the year. Siberia is inhabited mainly by Russians and Russianized Ukrainians, and life in this region is a true test of physical and psychological endurance. It is a place that inspires both respect and fear, and the people who live there face extreme challenges every day. Siberia is a place that reminds us of how small we are in the face of nature, and that it takes courage and determination to survive in such a hostile environment. Siberia is mainly inhabited by Russians and Russified Ukrainians, and life in this region is a true test of physical and psychological resilience. It is a place that inspires both respect and fear, and the people who live there face extreme challenges every day. Siberia is a place that reminds us how small we are in the face of nature, and that it takes courage and determination to survive in such a hostile environment. Siberia is a land full of contrasts and extremes, where the cold is so intense that it freezes even the bones. It is a place where nature is majestic, with breathtaking landscapes, but it is also a place where history is dark and tragic. The population of Siberia is mostly made up of Russians and Russified Ukrainians, but there are also Aboriginal groups that represent about 1/20th of the population. Most of these indigenous groups live in their homeland, the Buryat Republic. The history of Siberia is stained with the pain and oppression of the Soviet era, with terms like katorga, drought and gulag being associated with exile and forced labor camps. The government agency responsible for these camps, known as the Good, was the main instrument of repression in the Soviet Union, punishing its opponents with imprisonment and forced labor, often resulting in death. However, Siberia is also a place of incredible scientific discoveries, with scientists drawn to the region because of its natural characteristics and unique phenomena. Lake Baikal, for example, is one of the biggest attractions in Siberia. It is a lake so deep and ancient that its magnitude is difficult to comprehend. If we could measure the depth of the lake from the top of the surrounding mountains to the bottom, it would be 12,977 meters, about 50% higher than Mount Everest. Despite the difficult living conditions and dark history, Siberia is a place of incomparable natural beauty and exciting scientific discoveries. It is a place where extreme cold coexists with the exuberance of wildlife, and where people fight for survival, but also for the preservation of the region's natural richness. Siberia may be a cold and harsh place, but it is a place that will always leave a lasting impression on those who dare to explore its vast landscapes. In the heart of Siberia, the majestic Lake Baikal hides impressive secrets. With a depth of 8,500 meters, it is the thickest lake in the world. Furthermore, it has a unique attribute that sets it apart from all other bodies of water on the planet. About 20% of the world's non-frozen freshwater reserves are contained in its depths. During winter, an incredible natural phenomenon occurs, as the lake freezes and its ice takes on a turquoise appearance, acquiring a transparency never seen before. For the Russian government, Siberia is an invaluable asset, as it is where most of the country's natural reserves of crude oil and natural gas are located. These reserves extend over more than 2 million square kilometers in western Siberia. It is because of these reserves that Russia can boast of being one of the world's largest exporters of natural gas. Scientists have long known that humans inhabit cold Siberia. However, it was an accidental discovery that revealed the existence of an ancient and unknown population over 31,000 years ago. The finding consisted of a pair of children's teeth lost somewhere in Siberia during the Ice Age. After analyzing the genetic data extracted from these teeth and other ancient remains discovered in the region, scientists concluded that this population was genetically different from other Siberian groups. Solving this mystery helped clarify how Paleolithic humans spread through Siberia and then crossed the Bering Land Bridge towards the Americas. Siberia, with its vast natural wealth and fascinating history, remains a land of discovery for modern scientists. The eyes of archaeologists shone with excitement and anticipation as they searched the banks of the Yana River in the remote region of Siberia. Nestled in a frozen and inhospitable land, the archaeological site of Yana Renascent Horn seemed an unlikely place to reveal a lost treasure. But there, among thousands of ancient objects and stone tools, there was something special: a pair of tiny and mysterious teeth belonging to two unrelated male children. The scientists examined the teeth with curiosity and care, and discovered that they were the only known human remains at the site. It was the first evidence of human occupation in that isolated region, located in the high latitudes of northern Siberia. The teeth were remains of ancient humans from the Upper Paleolithic, whose DNA revealed that they were distantly related to West Eurasian hunter-gatherers. It is believed that they arrived in Siberia shortly after Asians and Europeans arrived in the region, about 40,000 years ago. But how did these ancient northern Siberians survive in the harsh conditions of the region, with intense cold and lack of modern resources like home heating? The scientists carefully examined the genetic data extracted from the teeth, along with the DNA of other ancient remains discovered in Siberia. They found that the people of Yana may have lived in a group of up to 500 people, and there was no evidence of consanguinity with children. These new genetic data provide fascinating insights into how ancient northern Siberians may have lived. Genetic diversity patterns can indicate population size and social organization, and help unravel the mysteries of the past. It is fascinating to imagine these ancient communities, struggling to survive in the harsh conditions of the Arctic, adapting and evolving over time. The Yana Renascent Horn archaeological site is a window into the distant past, a place where ancient history is revealed with every careful excavation. The tiny teeth, with their deep stories and secrets, are just the beginning, a small piece of a much larger puzzle that we are only beginning to understand. In the vast territory of Siberia, there is a millennial history that spans tens of thousands of years. Scientists have discovered that two groups from East Asia married with ancient North Siberians around 18,000 to 20,000 years ago, resulting in human migration to North America. A discovery near the Kolyma River in Siberia revealed a partial skull from 10,000 years ago that had genetic similarity with both the ancient North Siberians and the East Asian group, which became the ancestors of Native Americans. This discovery suggests that ancient North Siberians were involved in crossbreeding that allowed humans to migrate to North America. However, this discovery was not well received by many North Americans. But if this discovery is already surprising, a new scientific discovery in Siberia has left many alarmed. A zombie virus, which remained frozen for more than 48,500 years, was found in samples collected from permafrost in the Russian province of Siberia. The new study, conducted by the French National Center for Scientific Research in Microbiology Jean-Marie Pic, examined the sample and was able to revive 13 new viruses, called zombies. Surprisingly, one of these viruses remained infectious after more than 48,500 years in the permafrost. Such a discovery should be seen as a great achievement. However, the implications of this cannot be ignored. Scientists found that these viruses, including the one that remained infectious after more than 48,500 years, were able to infect cat amoeba, a microscopic unicellular living organism. These organisms are so ubiquitous that they can be found not only in soil and fresh and marine waters but also in swimming pools, faucets, drains, aquariums, sewage, hydrotherapy baths, cooling systems, fans, and intensive care units, just to name a few. This discovery raises many questions and concerns, especially about the risks that these viruses released from permafrost may pose to animal and human populations. Perhaps scientists should reconsider their experiments and consider possible risks before awakening these zombies. After all, Siberia holds many stories, but not all of them can be told without risks. In a constantly changing world, we often encounter situations that challenge our understanding. The climate crisis, for example, is one of these unexpected changes that, unfortunately, have become increasingly frequent. In this context, a new threat arises: zombie viruses that inhabit the permafrost in Siberia. For millennia, these viruses have remained dormant in the frozen soil, waiting for the right moment to manifest. With the accelerated thaw caused by global warming, these microorganisms can be exposed to external conditions such as light, oxygen, and heat, and find the ideal host to infect. Unfortunately, the risk of contamination tends to increase as more people move to the Arctic in search of industrial ventures and their natural resources. And this threat is real. Researchers from the French National Center for Scientific Microbiological Research, Jean-Marie Pic, recently discovered the zombie virus Jumbo, classified as Siberian Tavolo, more than 30 meters deep in frozen soil. At 1.5 micrometers in length, this giant virus is the largest ever discovered and is capable of infecting unicellular organisms like amoebas. And this discovery is worrisome, as other more deadly viruses may be locked in Siberia, waiting for an opportunity to spread. The permafrost region is under constant threat, and its deep layers are penetrated by activities such as mining and drilling, which can put the health of workers and all of humanity at risk. Scientists warn that this is a recipe for disaster, and climate change projections indicate that the permafrost will continue to shrink. We must act with caution and responsibility, as a single infection can spread worldwide. The climate crisis is real and requires urgent measures to protect not only our own species, but all forms of life that share this planet with us. Immersed in a frozen world, scientists come across a surprising discovery: a mummy, a silent witness to a long-lost civilization, the Scythians. They were a nomadic people, wandering from Siberia to Egypt almost 3,000 years ago, and disappearing around 100 AD. They never formed an empire, but are described as nomadic killers by the Greek historian Herodotus. The body of the mummy found at a site called Wazane II belongs to a Scythian warrior, the ancient nomadic warriors who wandered the world. They were able to survive in a hostile world where death was always lurking. The dead warrior survived a deep arrow wound, and how he managed to survive even after a short period of time was miraculous. The three-barbed arrowhead, probably thrown by a horseback opponent, shattered the bone below his right eye, firmly embedded in his flesh. Upon studying the body, it was evident that the man's injury was not his first brush with death. He had survived a sword blow to the back of his skull when he was younger. But this last injury was different. The man was likely begging for death. Researchers paint the picture of a brutal operation that occurred 2,600 years ago in the Siberian steppe. Holding the victim's skull in one hand and a replica of the deadly arrow in the other, his companions cut his cheek and attempted to remove bone fragments like a small saw, but were unsuccessful. The found mummy is a missing link to understanding the history of the Scythians, a mysterious civilization that disappeared long ago. With each discovery, scientists learn more about these ancient nomads and their way of life. A story that is now told through frozen mummies, a unique record of a distant time and a forgotten people. It was a scene that seemed to have been forgotten by history itself, an untouched and icy place, an ancient cemetery that hid fascinating secrets about Siberian culture. Among the mummies found, one of them was a great find for scientists, belonging to the Titians, a network of nomadic tribes that spread across Siberia and Egypt almost 3,000 years ago, but disappeared about 100 years after Christ. The found mummy belonged to a nomadic warrior, whose painful death left visible marks on his body. The three-barbed arrowhead firmly embedded in his flesh, the result of a blow from an enemy on horseback, made it clear that this warrior had faced many battles throughout his life. Although he had survived a sword blow to the back of his skull when he was young, the last injury was more severe and painful. The man probably begged for death while his companions tried to remove the arrowhead from his skull using a small saw. The discovery was not limited to the warrior's mummy, but also to a tomb that contained the bodies of 26 men and women, most of whom had apparently been executed to follow the ruler into the afterlife. The tomb was so rich in detail that scientists felt they had hit the jackpot, with the discovery of 5,600 gold objects, including a 3-pound necklace and a cloak studded with 2,500 small gold panthers. But not everything was as grand as the previous tomb. Another burial mound contained only the mummy of a warrior in full regalia, his body partially mummified by the frozen ground. Scientists discovered that he had been buried alongside 2 horses in full harness, impeccably arranged and facing northeast. Efforts to transport the discoveries were grand, with the president of Mongolia lending his helicopter to take the mummies to a laboratory in Ulaanbaatar, the country's capital. The layer of ice that formed in the tomb allowed for impressive preservation of the mummies. The mummies showed signs of primitive embalming, with internal organs removed and replaced with grasses. But the combination of ice and intentional preservation produced remarkably resilient specimens. History could now be rewritten, or rather complemented, with the discoveries of that ancient frozen cemetery. Among the vast plains of Siberia, a treasure trove of shocking and mysterious discoveries awaits to be revealed. One of these discoveries is the mummy of a man who lived centuries ago. His teeth are surrounded by bone spurs, silent witnesses to the painful gum disease that afflicted him, the result of a diet rich in meat and dairy but poor in fruits and vegetables. This man, who was between 60 and 65 years old when he died, was about 1.5 meters tall and had broken his left arm at some point in his life. Years of banging in the cell where he probably was held caused osteoarthritis in his vertebrae, which now show clear signs of wear. His arm and shoulder joints are also heavily damaged, evidence of his heavy use. This osteoarthritis and joint damage are common among people who work with wild horses, an activity that these ancient inhabitants of the Central Asian steppes mastered. The sweepers of the steppes were known for their horse skills and terrifying war tactics, which included human sacrifice and other grotesque rituals fueled by drugs. Their exploits terrorized the ancient Greeks and Persians, and descriptions of these violent rituals were recorded by Herodotus. But the shocking discoveries in Siberia don't stop there. Scientists have also discovered a meteorite that contains naturally impossible crystals. This small grain of extraterrestrial mineral was found in a box at the Italian Museum of Natural History in Florence, Italy, and formed shortly after the birth of our solar system about 4.5 billion years ago. The mineral, which originated in an area near the Chorai Mountains in eastern Siberia, was delivered to Earth by a meteorite known as Kachurka. The latter was only discovered after researchers returned to the area in 2011 in search of exotic minerals, due to its unique structural properties. Between mummies and meteorites, Siberia continues to surprise and fascinate scientists and history enthusiasts around the world. It was a newly discovered treasure, a rock so unique and singular that it defied the very laws of nature. Called almost crystal, this jewel cut by the Earth itself looked like a normal crystal on the outside, but when seen on the inside, it revealed a rare and fascinating beauty. The atomic lattices that composed the almost crystal were so ordered and diverse that they displayed a variety of shapes never before seen in a substance. Since 1982, laboratories have produced more than 100 synthetic versions of these minerals, but these forms were theoretically impossible according to accepted ideas about natural laws. The almost crystal sample was found in a box in the Italian museum by Paolo Stenhard and his team, who confirmed the unique structure of this tiny Siberian rock. It was established with almost certainty that it had arrived on Earth from some other place in the solar system, as the analysis revealed that the mineral was encrusted in another mineral derived from meteorites. The research revealed that the meteorite rock and the almost crystal were formed by a high-pressure process, more or less at the same time, within a meteorite that eventually landed in the forests of Siberia. The ratio of oxygen isotopes found in the almost crystal was also inconsistent with the proportions found on Earth, suggesting that it was created outside the planet. The discovery was so surprising and fascinating that the team of researchers decided to look for more fresh samples of the meteorite rock, exploring the area of the Antarctic Peninsula near the Koryak Mountains. And so, a new page in the history of science was written, revealing yet another treasure hidden in the depths of the Earth and outer space. The wonders of nature are infinite and often surpass the limits of our imagination. As proof of this, scientists have discovered something that challenges our preconceived ideas about mineral formation. Quasicrystals are vivid examples of nature's amazing ability to create something new and unique. They appear to be a common crystal at first glance, but upon examining their interior, we can see that the order of the atomic lattices is distinct and diversified, displaying a variety of forms never before seen in a substance. Since 1982, laboratories have produced over 100 synthetic versions of these minerals, forms that were theoretically impossible according to previously accepted ideas about natural laws. Until then, the only things discovered were crystals with rigidly ordered patterns and normal solids composed of atoms arranged in any order. But quasicrystals challenge our previous conceptions and make us rethink our understandings about the world around us. The most recent discovery involves the third quasicrystal found by researchers. It has a unique structure that has not yet been synthesized in the laboratory. Aluminum, copper, and iron have been discovered in the three quasicrystals, providing new insights into how these substances form and how nature is capable of creating something so singular. It is not only the formation of quasicrystals that fascinates scientists. They have also been studying meteors and cosmic events that shape our world. One such event was the mysterious explosion that occurred in the remote Siberian forest in 1908. For over a century, researchers have been intrigued by the explosion, which destroyed millions of trees in a matter of seconds, in an area of nearly 800 square miles. The event, called Tunguska, left no crater, which led scientists to discredit the idea that a meteor caused the explosion. However, a new explanation has been proposed. A large iron meteor was hurled towards Earth, coming close enough to cause a massive shock wave, but it did not impact the ground and therefore left no remnants or craters. Its mass and momentum propelled it further into space, leaving behind only the memory of a bright and hot explosion that shattered windows and knocked people over in a city over 60 kilometers away. These discoveries show us that nature is much more complex than we previously thought and that we still have much to learn about the universe. The novelties it produces are infinite, challenging our expectations and surprising us at every turn. Nature, with its persistent habits, is capable of producing more novelties than we can imagine. It is in this constant renewal that unexpected discoveries can be revealed, as in the case of the recently discovered aluminum, copper, and iron crystals. 3 almost crystals were found, but it was the third, with its unique structure that has not yet been synthesized in the laboratory, that drew the most attention. Speaking of meteors, scientists have also made new discoveries about an event that has puzzled researchers for over a century, the explosion of a meteor that destroyed millions of trees in the remote Siberian forest in the early 19th century. This catastrophic event, known as the Tunguska event, flattened over 80 million trees in seconds over an area of nearly 800 square miles, or 2,000 square kilometers. Strangely, despite the explosion, no crater was left behind, which discredited the theory that a meteor exploded before impacting the ground. A group of researchers has proposed a solution to this mystery. According to them, a large iron meteor was hurled towards Earth, coming close enough to cause a massive shock wave but not breaking its mass and momentum, which pushed it further into space. On the morning of June 30, 1908, the sky over Siberia lit up so brightly and hotly that witnesses reported seeing the sky split in two, with the entire northern part covered in fire. According to NASA, the energy released by the explosion was estimated by scientists to be 185 times greater than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima in 1945. Explanations for the explosion included volcanic eruptions and mining accidents, but none of these claims were supported by physical evidence. The most widely accepted scientific explanation is that a rocky asteroid or comet entered Earth's atmosphere and then disintegrated with a bang 3 to 6 miles above the ground. To test this theory, scientists used computer models to simulate the meteor's path. They saw objects with diameters of up to 200 meters approaching the Earth's surface at 10 or 15 kilometers. Calculations revealed that space objects made of rock and ice would completely disintegrate under the enormous pressures generated by their passage through tropospheric altitudes. In comparison, the meteor that exploded over Chelyabinsk, Russia in February 2013 was discovered with fragments within a week but believed to have been made of rock. It was a summer night with a starry sky that shone like diamonds embedded in a dark mantle. It was then that a witness observed something so spectacular that it could not go unnoticed. The sky was split in two, and the entire northern part of the firmament was covered in fire, as if nature itself were on fire. NASA later estimated that the energy released by the explosion was 185 times greater than the atomic bomb that devastated Hiroshima in 1945. Explanations for the explosion were many, from volcanic eruptions to mining accidents, but nothing that could be scientifically proven. Some later, even more speculative suggestions included the fall of a UFO or even a black hole. However, the most widely accepted scientific explanation was that a rocky asteroid or comet entered Earth's atmosphere and disintegrated with a deafening bang 3 to 6 miles above the ground, about 5 to 10 kilometers above the ground. The explosion could have scattered rocky debris throughout the region, but nothing was found in comparison to the meteor that exploded over Chelyabinsk, Russia in February 2013. At that time, researchers discovered fragments of the meteor in question within a week. It was then that scientists decided to adopt a different approach. What if the meteor was made of iron instead of rock? A solid iron meteorite could penetrate Earth's atmosphere, generating a powerful shock wave before breaking free from the planet's gravitational attraction and escaping without shattering into many pieces. To test this theory, scientists used computer models to trace the paths of meteorites. They saw objects ranging from 164 feet, or 50 meters in diameter, to as large as 200 meters. It turns out that only iron asteroids with diameters greater than 100 meters can survive without breaking up into many pieces. The meteor in question was estimated to be between 100 and 200 meters in diameter, and traveled approximately 72,000 kilometers per hour through the atmosphere. The iron shed by a meteor traveling at such high speeds would have escaped as gas and oxidized plasma in the atmosphere and then dispersed into the ground, becoming nearly indistinguishable from Earth's iron oxides. The power of shockwaves produced by meteors is impressive, and in the case of the Tunguska meteor, the iron-rich space object may have entered Earth's atmosphere at a very shallow angle, of approximately 9 to 12 degrees tangentially to the surface. It would have then passed through the atmosphere, producing a shock wave and returning to space. And what conclusion did you come to? Leave your comment.